Hello students, welcome back. Let us today continue with history and start with a new lesson in history, that is the decline of the Mughal Empire. Now if you recall, in class 7 you have learnt about the Mughal Empire and all the powerful rulers of the Mughal Empire. Babur is said to be the first ruler who laid the foundation of the Mughal Empire in India, followed by Humayun. Akbar was also another very powerful ruler. You have learned in details about Akbar in class 7. Then you have Jahangir, followed by Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb succeeded Shah Jahan. Aurangzeb is said to be the last powerful ruler of the Mughals. Let me show you the extent of the Mughal Empire. We have learnt in class 7 how the Mughal rulers conquered the places. And if you see the extent, it covers the entire subcontinent, right from Afghanistan to Bay of Bengal, and here from Gujarat to the Deccan. So you see the extent of the empire, and the Mughals ruled for almost 180 years. They started their rule in the 16th century, and their rule declined towards the beginning of the 18th century. Now, what were the reasons, what were the causes that led to the decline of such mighty empire? There are many factors responsible. Which gradually led to the decline of the empire. Now, the later Mughals, the Mughal emperors who succeeded Aurangzeb, are known as the later Mughals. Bahadur Shah succeeded Aurangzeb. And then the later Mughals, all those who succeeded Aurangzeb are known as the later Mughals. We have Bahadur Shah, Jahandar Shah, Farooq Siyar, Muhammad Shah, Ahmad Shah Bahadur, Alamgir II, Shah Alam II, Akbar II, and Bahadur Shah Zafar. These were the later Mughals. Now, what were the causes for the decline of such mighty empire? What were the reasons? Let us learn about the different causes that led to the decline of this empire. Now, the first important cause was the policies of Aurangzeb. That is, the policies of religious tolerance. Now, what were these policies? If you recall, there were the Jizya tax or the pilgrimage tax, during the reign of Akbar. Now, Aurangzeb, he reimposed these tax, the Jizya tax and the pilgrimage tax on non-Muslims. This made the other Muslims, the non-Muslims, very angry, and they revolted, especially the Rajputs. The Satnamis revolted against Aurangzeb. This was the first important cause. Aurangzeb did not realize the importance of the support of these non-Muslims to build a mighty empire. So this led to the disintegration of the empire. The first cause was a religious intolerance. Second was the weak successors. So the successors, after Aurangzeb were very incompetent, or they were very weak. So because of this, what happened was, some of the provincial governors, they formed their independent kingdoms, whereas some other weak rulers, were manipulated by their nobles. Since the nobles were very ambitious and very smart. So, since they were incompetent, the successors of Aurangzeb, there was a decline of the empire. Third important cause was the wars of succession. Now, there were no clear rules for the wars of succession. So, after a king died, all the relatives would claim to the throne, and there was wars of succession in the dynasty. Since there were no rules, everybody could claim it, and there was instability in the empire. This was another factor that led to the downfall of the empire. The fourth important cause was the politics of the Mughal court. Now the Mughal court consisted of many nobles. These nobility, were the Afghans, the Sheikzadas, the Iranis. So all these nobles fought among each other for Jagirs because they were very jealous of each other and very suspicious. And because of these fights what they had among each other, again it led to the downfall of the empire. The next cause was a failure of the Mansabdari system. Okay, we have learnt about the Mansabdari system in class 7, that the Mansabdars were given lands, or Jagirs. So during the reign of Aurangzeb, there was shortage of Jagirs. Why? Because the number of Mansabdars grew. And since these Mansabdars were not getting enough lands, they did not maintain a very good army, which was a great blow to their military. This is another cause for their decline. Next is the lack of military reforms. Now the Mughal army, the military, had old and traditional techniques, and it did not try to modernize their equipments or have new or reform equipments. Secondly, they did not also have a navy. So this was another great factor for the downfall. The next one is Jagirdari crisis. Now you must be knowing, we have learnt in class 7 that these landlords were given Jagirs, or the lands for the service that they did. Now since there was shortage of Jagirs, the lands, the kings had to give the crown lands. It means the land that came under the ruler, under the kings. They had to give the crown lands to satisfy the demands of the nobles. So this led to the loss of revenue to the treasury of the Mughal dynasty. It was very important factor that led to the decline of the empire. And lastly, foreign invasions. The Mughal empire was invaded many times. Firstly by Nadir Shah, who was the ruler of Persia. He looted Delhi and he carried all the treasures from the Delhi. And second was the ruler of Afghanistan, that is Ahmad Shah Abdali, who plundered Delhi many times. So this completely weakened the empire. And towards the end of the 18th century, there was a complete decline in the empire. So after the decline, many provinces became independent. They started their own autonomous states. Most of these regional powers were the Marathas, the Nizams of Hyderabad, the Nawabs of Bengal, the Oudh, the Rajputs, the Sikhs. All these had their independent provinces. Let us learn about these independent kingdoms. Let us start with the Marathas first. The Marathas emerged as a very powerful independent kingdom in the 18th century. The foundation of this dynasty was laid by Shivaji. Shivaji was then succeeded by his son Sambhaji. Shivaji was a very powerful ruler, but his successors were not very strong. They were quite weak. After Sambhaji, it was the dynasty. The empire was carried on by his grandson Shahu. Shahu was appointed as the ruler of the Maratha kingdom with the help of Balaji Vishwanath. And in return, Shahu made Balaji Vishwanath his Peshwa, that is the Prime Minister, in the year 1713. Now since Shahu was not very powerful, with the help of Balaji Vishwanath, he tried to restore successfully the territories taken away by Aurangzeb. Second achievement was he acquired the right to Chaudh and Sardeshmukhi. What is this Chaudh and Sardeshmukhi? These were the two kinds of taxes which were imposed on the Maratha in the Maratha area. okay, on Mughlai lands. Now, according to these two taxes, okay, which were levied in the South Indian territory, chaud refers to 1/4, okay, so 25% or 1/4 of the produce was given to the Jagirdars, and Sardesh Mukhi, that is 1/10 or 10% of the chaud that was collected from the produce was given as a tribute to the ruler, especially to the Maratha ruler. So they also acquired these rights, that is to impose tax of chaud and Sardesh Mukhi in their areas. So since Shahu was not very strong as a ruler, okay, gradually the rule went in the hands of the Balaji Vishwanath, and he established the Peshwa rule. Balaji Vishwanath was succeeded by Baji Rao the first. Okay, he ruled from 1720 to 1740. He was a military genius, and during his rule they formed the Maratha Confederacy. Okay, confederacy means a group, an alliance which is formed, okay, wherein they agree that they will support each other in terms of wars or any other conditions. So this confederacy consisted of the Scindias of Gwalior, Bhonsles of Nagpur, Holkars of Indore, and Gaikwads of Baroda. Baji Rao the first was succeeded by Balaji Baji Rao, who ruled from 1740 to 1761. Okay, he shifted his capital from Satara, Pune. Okay, he was involved in the third battle of Panipat. Now, if you recall, we have learnt about the first battle of Panipat and the second battle of Panipat in class 7. The first battle of Panipat was fought between the King Babur, okay, and he laid the foundation of the Mughal Empire, defeating the ruler of Lodi dynasty, that is Ibrahim Lodi, in the year 1526. The second battle of Panipat was fought between the Mughals, that is under Akbar, and the Afghan general, okay, Hemu, where Hemu was defeated, and this was the end of the Afghans' resistance to the Mughals. Third battle of Panipat was fought in the year 1761. Okay, now I told you that Balaji Baji Rao and the others, the Peshwas, they conquered many territories. So their conquest over Punjab and their influence over Delhi brought them into very close contact with the Afghan chief Ahmad Shah Abdali, which led to the third battle of Panipat. The third battle was fought between the Marathas under Balaji Baji Rao, okay, versus the Afghan general Ahmad Shah Abdali. Ahmad Shah Abdali defeated the Marathas. Now the main cause of their defeat was that the Marathas used the guerrilla warfare. Okay, now what is guerrilla warfare? Now the Marathas usually would fight wars using these type of tactics. Okay, wherein they would have a surprise attack or sudden attack on their enemies. A different type of tactic was used, where they would camouflage, behind the bushes, or sometimes they would also hide behind the mountains. So here what happened, it did not succeed because it did not work in the northern parts of the country. So they were not ready, or they were not experienced with the open warfare, since they always used the guerrilla tactics or the guerrilla warfare. Now the defeat of the Marathas put an end to the Maratha dream to control the Mughal Empire. Now let us learn about the next independent kingdom that carved out from the Mughal Empire after the decline of the Mughals. Hyderabad, okay, Nizam-ul-Mulk Asaf Jah was a governor in the Mughal dynasty. Okay, after the decline of the Mughal Empire, he founded the state of Hyderabad in 1724. Let us learn about his achievements. He was an efficient administrator. He also recruited soldiers, the army, appointed mansabdars and gave them jagirs. He removed corruption from the revenue department and also promoted trade and commerce in his kingdom. And lastly, he also protected his kingdom from internal and external threats and made his kingdom very prosperous. Okay, so Hyderabad was another independent kingdom. Next was Bengal. Bengal was one of the richest province of the Mughal Empire. So after the decline of the Mughals, Murshid Quli Khan became the new province of Bengal. He promoted trade and established law and order in the province. Murshid Quli Khan was actually succeeded by Shujauddin and Sarfaraz Khan. Okay, Alivardi Khan was the next Nawab, powerful Nawab, who promoted Indian and foreign traders, merchants to his province. He was succeeded by Siraj ud Dawla, who was the last independent ruler of Bengal. So these three Nawabs, these three rulers of Bengal, okay, made their province more rich, okay, and very prosperous. Another kingdom was the kingdom of Mysore, another important independent kingdom, okay, during the 18th century was the kingdom of Mysore. Hyder Ali became the ruler of Mysore. He overthrew the government that was present in Mysore and established his authority in the year 1761. He was succeeded by his son Tipu Sultan, who was another powerful ruler. He is also known as the Tiger of Mysore. Tipu Sultan strengthened the economy by encouraging agriculture and also promoted trade in Mysore. He fought the Anglo-Mysore wars and he died in the battlefield defending his capital Seringamapatnam. He fought very bravely against the British. The next independent kingdom was the kingdom of Oudh. Saadat Khan was appointed as the governor of Oudh by the Mughal ruler Muhammad Shah. He reorganized the revenue department and also strengthened the army of Oudh. Safdar Jung succeeded Saadat Khan and later by Shuja ud Dawla. These three rulers brought peace and prosperity in Oudh. Other independent kingdoms were all the kingdoms of Rajputs and the Sikhs. The states of Jaipur, Mewar and Marwar asserted independence. That means they also carved out independence from the Mughal dynasty or Mughal empire. The last important kingdom were the Sikhs. The Sikhs also gained political control under Guru Gobind Singh. Ranjit Singh also carried on the same processes, okay, and he brought the missals means the groups, okay, under the Sikhs. He brought them together and he became the ruler of Punjab. So in today's class, we have learnt about how the different causes that led to the decline of such mighty empire, the Mughal Empire, and because of the decline of the Mughal Empire, many new independent kingdoms arose. Okay, they carved out or they broke away from this Mughal Empire and started their own kingdoms. In the next class, we are going to learn about the influence of British over our country. Thank you.